yourself. You were programmed to fit in this world. No one said what you could be. Instead they told you how to think.
Welcome to LiberalBuzzShow. I'm Denise Dorey, and I'm your host. It doesn't get any more liberal than here. It doesn't. So, my call-in guest is likely to be Shona G, and she texted me the topics of the show. The topics she would like to cover today. Shona G is the educational director and CEO of Axis of Love, SF, an organization started 20 years ago, and she educates the community about the need for free cannabis for people who can't afford it and are in need of, I don't even call it medical, people who just haven't had enough cannabis. You know, they need more, right? That's why they're sick. Because being sick is a lack of cannabis. That's my opinion. 2 out of 3 get cancer and AIDS. I mean, not AIDS, I don't think it, but cancer and the other, Alzheimer's. I forgot. Okay, topics. No public comment period for regulations, and there's no advisory committee for state regulations as promised. So that means that they just kind of blanked us out here. You know, they just really did. I can do a quick intro about that. That's what she wanted to talk about. 10 bills that are aimed at regulating cannabis were shelved Friday. That's one of the stories that we've got. Major pot bills up for final approval. So it's like Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom is feathering his campaign fund to run for governor with money he makes off the backs of patients who use cannabis, and he's used us for years. You know, he takes money from the industry. A lot of them do. So they're basically Republicans in sheep's clothing, in donkey clothes. They should change their party. They take money from big pharma. Why? Who does? You know. Do you want your legislators taking money from big pharma? Because Kamala Harris takes plenty of it too. Okay, so I've got 10 bills, and then Merced County is moving to reverse its stance on growing cannabis outdoors, which advocates say will affect the poorest and sickest of medical cannabis users. The Merced Board of Supervisors gave its staff direction on Tuesday to begin a repeal its 2013 ordinance that allows patients to grow 12 plants outside. So they're just doing this city by city because why? Because they can. Because we have fake legalization, so they're doing it because they can. And the city would rely, the county would rely on provisions in Prop 64, which allows anyone to grow 6 plants indoors, but growing out indoors is more costly. So they're looking at poor people growing their own medicine, because I mean the compassionate growers are allowed 235 plants. So yeah, and of course they promised us public comment about things like this, you know. And then let me catch you up on this. You might call around 6:07 or something. Okay, so San Francisco Mayor Lee, she's appointed a complicated family tie to the San Francisco Cannabis Board. Her name's Nicole Elliott. $149,000 a year for that job to create the Office of Cannabis, so they could regulate us to death. And so Elliott's been the mayor's liaison to the Board of Supervisors, and she's married to Jason Elliott. Now that's one of the topics that she had me cover. Jason Elliott, and he's the chief of staff. So that means that the lady that gets $140,000 to run our cannabis community is married to her boss, basically. She has to report to her husband, so her husband is her boss, which is, you know, it's against, it's obviously wrong. So Nicole Elliott to write the city's recreational pot policies. It's a bit of a risky move. Elliott, who is white, doesn't have all the diversity credentials that some members of the Board of Supervisors were pushing for, and she has no history with cannabis. So, anyway. Sandra Fewer, you know, I like Sandra Fewer. She's the supervisor of District 1. Legalization is an opportunity to reinvest in communities that are disproportionately impacted by racist drug laws. But the thing is, it has a life sentence. 11358D of Prop 64 says that you get a life sentence. So that's just wrong. Oh, and if you want to, I usually use Twitter. So if you want to send me any correspondence, I encourage you to tweet me, Denise Dorey. I'm going to be tweeting a lot about cannabis things. I have been and still will be until I get my way, which is to have free cannabis for poor people and not to put anyone in jail for cannabis if they're doing that. Oh, and now the Sacramento police, they have SWAT teams, and they're going around. What they're doing is there'll be an army of rule book and paperwork wonks, building inspectors, code enforcers. Oh, and the dream team, the city leaders are sending out to the world. Oh, they're just making money. That's just more blood-sucking leeches on our community. And they just want to come and suss out an illegal cannabis grow. And in some places, by the way, before I continue, in some places they can come in your house if you get a permit. That means they can come in your house. Yeah, that's creepy. I know. So permit, schmermit. It's bad. It's bad. So the dream team that city leaders are sending to suss out illegal cannabis grows, a one-size-raids-all approach that will snare both cartel-connected trafficking rings as well as homegrowns, a few plants or a few square feet too big. I mean, they're just going to... They don't want anybody to grow their own. They want us buying the white boys' weed. So, it's your choice. My choice. Shona Gokenauer, Axis of Love.
Hi there, Denise. I just wanted to know, does your vagina...
Oh. Oh, okay. Anyway, troll. So Sacramento's plan presents a different conundrum. Someone growing a few plants runs the risk of having a SWAT teams call in by their neighbor, but a chilling effect will be the same. People will buy their cannabis at a dispensary and avoid the unwelcome visit because they don't want to have the police come in their house. That's what. So they're kind of backing us into a corner, aren't they? And it's happening more and more, and now it's in Sacramento. So last time we reported it was in Merced. So now it's all are lumped into the same smart pot with the end goal clear. They want to eradicate medical cannabis, basically. So this is some news she had about. I'm going to talk about local next. Some growers and advocates, yeah, they're saying the whole point of, I mean, isn't it the whole point of going legit? Isn't that the whole point of that is so that the police are on your side, right? That you're accepted as a law-abiding citizen, which that's not guaranteed. I don't want anyone to think it is because there's jail behind this, and jail is just a bad idea for a victimless thing like this. So. Daryl Gates, you know, he started it by giving the military veterans on his force. This is in L.A. during the riots in the '60s. He gave them military weapons and tactics and deployed them to quell riots. And that's now instead of quelling riots, they're doing no-knock raids on. So yeah. where the greatest threat on the premises is the SWAT team itself. I'm quoting this article from the High Times, even though these people sent people to California to sell out our community, but this is what I'm reporting. It's an accurate report, so I'm not going to knock it back. Here we go. Here's the article showing it. Wanted me to quote Sandra Fewer. Let's see, how much time? Oh, I've got 12 minutes. Yeah, Shona's trying to call in. Okay, here we go. She'll be here. So, San Francisco. So, Shona, thanks for trying to call in. I was having trouble with troll. I had a troll, so I had to turn off. Anyway, so I just briefed everybody on Ed Lee's lady that he has nothing to really do with any cannabis business and has answering to her husband. So let's.
Okay, so let me back up about that. So the overview is it started as a much worse proposal than it ended up. There were going to be all of the seats appointed by the mayor. It was going to be basically the illegal task force trying to further their careers. Then they were going to try to put in somebody directly from DPA, as they've done in Los Angeles and other cities. DPA is very corrupt and should be hit with a RICO Act.
Oh, yeah.
However, only the working class union organizer, Dan Rush, is looking at, many years in prison for trying to create a coercive monopoly, and the sort of eyes wide shut elite attached to George Soros are now trying to fill all of these city positions to be able to control and be gatekeepers of who gets permits.
Oh, no.
So what we have to remember is that Gavin Newsom has been groomed since day one from different people in Drug Policy Alliance.
Yeah.
So his chief of staff, his old chief of staff, Jason Elliott, is a very, very nice man. But all these people, all they did is remove it once from DPA so that the city would not get sued for having Amanda Ryman, who released the job opening before the legislation even passed. Amanda Ryman had her eyes on this, but, we caused a stink online basically saying, these people have money tied into the cannabis industry, so they just took a cousin once removed and placed them. And that's probably an agreement, between Terrence Allen, DPA, and maybe even Brendan Hallahan, who is the permit lawyer of a lot of the businesses. So
that's a big trough. They've got their snouts. I saw their snouts at the trough over at the meeting they had at the Rules Committee. Yeah, I've got videos of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're really looking at, still putting in a lot of nepotism and a lot of, just once removed, you can't quite legally say, hey, look, you're putting, you're really doing something unethical. But since Ross and Mateer are very, seen as moderate journalists have already covered this, we actually do have the room to scream nepotism, and I hope everybody does. I hope everybody really gets into saying to the city, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to get somebody in these positions that, one, is knowledgeable and a policy analyst, and two, is not really connected to any of these businesses, And then we have something totally horrible going on at the state level where way back in the creation of MRSA, Axis of Love worked with one of the legal counsels of the Senate Health Committee to put in a advisory board at the state level. So all these people have applied to this board, but what they're actually doing to create our regulations is they're going to go into secret chambers and just do it themselves. And absolutely no public comment. They're going to say they have to do an emergency rush through job. Now, if you'll notice, Laura Ajax did these, like, pop-up little, like, talk to the community things, right? But they didn't do a single one in Berkeley, Oakland, or San Francisco that was well advertised for patient advocates because they wanted just to kind of rubber stamp this as okay. And Laura Ajax actually comes from the ABC, the Alcohol Beverage Control, and she's actually registered as a Republican, which we know most of DPA is Republican funded. So this is all really curious and things people really need to pay attention to. You know?
Well, I tried to talk to the Bernie-crats about it last night, and so they tend to vote not very progressive. Now, Sandra Feuer said, how is she on this issue? She says,
well, Sandra Feuer is going to be the progressive lead on this. And the issue is, she said, oh, well, this pick, doesn't represent people of color, blah, blah, blah. I'm really sick of the one of these, one of those. What it doesn't represent is the people of San Francisco, the actual patients and consumers. So while I think that Sandra Feuer will become an ally, she needs a lot of learning. And right now we have some really terrible lobbyists up at City Hall trying to say that they represent low-income access, right? So that they can get their little Oakland people in there to, get, some type of equity permit. It's all completely bullshit. The people that have been working on low-income access for the last 15 years is Access of Wealth Patient Advocacy Team, period. And Sandra Feuer has not picked up the phone and really worked with us. I think that she will, but we've got to go up against this Jesse Stout who paid off Matt Cumin during the whole creation of this rubber stamp task force, which they threw the Aldriches off of because they didn't support Prop 64. I talked to task force members even after we went to the supernova thing, who were told basically that they couldn't really publicly discuss any other option than Prop 64. So what you're looking at is a lot of criminal actions, a lot of things that are completely illegal being brushed over because of oligarchy friendships, like Bill Barnes, Eric Pearson, David Owen. All these people have been having cocktail parties together for the last 20 years, and they're just setting each other up in business instead of really looking at a fair process,
Like a hostile takeover, really. It's a hostile takeover.
And it's unfortunate because we have like the Bernie crats and stuff where, we're just looking at another fake progressive stuff going on unless a lot of people really infiltrate that and really bring it to being informed progressive voters. I love what you say, Denise, about the uninformed progressive voter, the person that does the knee-jerk, what they think is progressive vote. And that is the biggest problem with what's going on in San Francisco, just across the board.
Yes, it is. It's hard to It's hard to have a voice down there when Yes, it's hard to have a voice when they've taken it away. Are you there?
Hey, Denise, I can't hear you. I'm going to get off, but thank you so much for covering this.
Thank you for all the things you do to educate people. She's great. Shona's pretty much the reason why I do this show, because she believes in free cannabis for poor folks, and that's something I'm good with. Now I've got about a minute and a half. I would like you to watch Psychic Frank's show. It's going to be 5 o'clock next Thursday on this channel. And you can tweet me, Denise Dorey. I'll probably follow you back too. And I urge you to buy a street sheet. Please adopt a shelter pet. And if you get stopped by the police, because I'm seeing police just everywhere. Everywhere you see them. So when you see the police, it's like, just ask them to get me a lawyer. That's all you have to say. I want a lawyer. I want to remain silent. That's all you have to tell them. So don't tell them too much. Because I just worry about people with all these police I'm seeing around the Tenderloin, around Market Street. There's just like one on every corner. It's just like hysteria. It really is. So stay careful and stay informed about, you know, and keep your cameras, you know, keep a big chip in your phone so you can take videos of what goes on. People need to know. And it's good. It holds up in court, too. Videos. You have to get... So, I'm going to be next show will be on the 21st, so I look forward to seeing you. And thanks for tuning in.
Said what you could be, instead they told you how to think. Taught to learn, make to obey. Take the lead, but know your place. No one thought to ask